Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering massive win. Deadpool and Wolverine destroy woke heroes at the box office. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. It started with Pixar's Inside Out 2. Now Marvel looks like it actually has a hit. This is more of a traditional Marvel movie. They're not trying to push an agenda. They're not trying to get you to take a look at your sexual preferences and change them. Whether or not it's in one of their movies, Marvel will find a way to work their agenda in, but they're not going to surround everything they're doing with the agenda. They're not going to make it the core of the story anymore. First, it was out at Pixar with Inside Out 2, which actually broke animation records. And now it looks like the audience reception to Deadpool and Wolverine is tremendous. As of the time of this video, it's done more than $100 million since previews. And the weekend's not over. They're looking at maybe as much as $200 million on its opening weekend. To give you an idea, The Marvels, that ridiculous failure produced by Nia DaCosta, who never should have been anywhere near writing and directing a Marvel movie, only did $200 million for its entire international theatrical run. Deadpool and Wolverine is very likely to do $1 billion, but we'll go into it in great detail. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Okay, coming from The Hollywood Reporter, box office, Deadpool and Wolverine reaps record $38.5 million in previews. That was best ever for an R-rated film and more. And from Box Office Pro, early weekend estimates, Deadpool and Wolverine post highest previews of all time for an R-rated movie. And Box Office Pro, which has really good numbers, good information, lots of great details, say that it's on track to gross, it looks like, about where the Rise of Skywalker grossed, which was a big Star Wars movie. It did make a lot of money. Here's the Rise of Skywalker. Over $1 billion worldwide, which would be a good thing since Marvel has damaged its brand so much with its recent woke movies and TV shows. Deadpool 2, the most recent Deadpool movie coming out in 2018, grossed $785 million worldwide. A very big number, and Fox was a lot better at controlling their budgets than Disney will ever be. Believe it or not, Disney used to be known for high-concept movies with low budgets, but that is how they built their live-action studio business, going all the way back to the 1980s. The Mighty Ducks, for example, was not exactly a big-budget movie. Coming from The Hollywood Reporter, Deadpool and Wolverine reaps record $38.5 million in previews. The Sean Levy-directed Marvel film, teaming Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, is also the 8th biggest preview number amongst any film. The Merc with a Mouth is looking better than ever, along with old pal and fellow superhero favorite Wolverine. Marvel Studios and Disney's Deadpool and Wolverine grossed a record $38.5 million in Thursday previews, beginning by far the best showing ever for an R-rated film and putting it at number 8 on the list of top previews among all films, not adjusted for inflation. And if you're not going to adjust for inflation, it's not really fair to say it's number 8. It's not really number 8. It's not exactly a completely fair comparison, but it's still really good results. Deadpool and Wolverine joins an elite roster that includes installments in Hollywood's biggest franchise, including Avengers, Star Wars, Spider-Man, and the final Harry Potter film. Sean Levy directed the high-profile Deadpool threequel, which returns Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson or Deadpool and brings Jackman into the franchise as Logan and Wolverine. The worldwide tour is certainly paying off. The Deadpool threequel is also pulling in huge numbers overseas, earning $64 million in its first 2 days, 57% ahead of its first film, and 48% of the sequel. That's the sequel that ultimately did $785 million worldwide. But keep in mind, Disney's distribution for films is better than Fox's, and Disney did not have full control of Fox in 2018. Still, it looks like it's doing pretty well. The record-shattering preview gross in North America is difficult to decipher because of the R rating in terms of whether it changes the weekend opening forecast of $160 million to $175 million. Studios and most box office analysts believe it would be hard for an R-rated movie to cross $200 million in its domestic launch, although the Quorum believes it could. Deadpool and Wolverine is being helped by strong reviews and even stronger exit, meaning exit polls when you leave the theater, people ask you, hey, what did you think of the movie you just saw? It's coming out positive. 5 out of 5 on post-track. the rating service, and a 97% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. The first Deadpool made history when opening to $133 million domestically in February 2016, the biggest start ever for an R-rated title, a record it still holds, proving that a superhero pick could draw big crowds despite its restrictive rating. A little more than 2 years later, Deadpool 2 opened to $125 million after earning $18.6 million in previews, the record until now for an R-rated film. The first Deadpool in 2016 did ultimately $782 million worldwide, considered a massive hit, especially on a low budget. Kevin Feige's Marvel took over the Deadpool franchise when Marvel parent company Disney bought 20th Century Fox, which had rights to the X-Men universe of characters. Deadpool and Wolverine is the first R-rated movie ever released by Disney, Marvel, or otherwise. Ryan Reynolds is also an expert promoter and producer. His marketing team at Maximum Effort, along with Disney, have been trying to grow the audience by going after women. They don't really need to do a lot of fancy things. There have been some cool promotional ideas. They've done some interesting trailers. Those are good ideas, but just letting people know you're actually going to make a movie that people might want to see is really enough. Going back to being on brand when people expect to see a Marvel movie so they know what experience they're going to get. And with those high ratings, those 5 out of 5 post-track ratings, the 97% Rotten Tomatoes score ratings if it stays that way, it's enough to get positive word of mouth where people are willing to tell their friends to go see it. And if they put enough effort into the movie and it becomes a cultural hit, people will go see the movie again and again and again. That's where the billion-dollar-plus movies happen, when people go see a movie more than one time, because it's just that good. Going to the movies is an experience. People want more of positive experiences when they have a positive experience. It really is very simple. Why don't they understand it in Hollywood? Because they're nuts. From Deadline, Hollywood's mental health crisis, General Hospital's Tabanya Alley breaks silence about how online trolls, quote, led me to question my self-worth. Yes, if people mock you, it's normal for that to make you question your self-worth. It's not good to attack people for mental health problems, and there's a lot of mental health problems in Hollywood, but also as part of all of the progressive agenda. It's craziness. There is no foundation to it. It's one thing to choose one lifestyle or another lifestyle, but this is like choosing a perpetually flexible lifestyle, where you don't only reject gender, biology, science, history, families, social relationships, but even the definition of words. If you're going to go ahead and change the definition of words like racist and mother and father, and they make subtle changes like from equality to equity, and then insist that only people of certain races can do this and only people of certain genders are allowed to now do that, that's what these people do to themselves. Every relationship that progressive people have is perpetually in flux if they're constantly changing their relationships, their surroundings, their definitions, their rules of how to live, their rules of how everyone else must live, or they get hysterical. And we stay far away from that. And we have even more details from Boxoffice Pro. The Marvel Cinematic Universe just found the catalyst it sorely needed to reconnect with massive audiences. Deadpool and Wolverine kicked off its theatrical run with an impressive $38.5 million in Thursday previews, making it the 8th highest preview frame and the biggest preview number of all time for an R-rated film. The film will officially open across 4,200 theaters this weekend, including 400 IMAX auditoriums, 950 premium large format screens, 2,500 plus 3D locations, 300 plus D-Box 4D motion screens, and 90 plus Screen X screens. The film occupies a market share of 43% of all showtimes in the United States, according to the box office company's Showtimes dashboard. Deadpool and Wolverine is currently outpacing post-pandemic Marvel hits like 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, that did $36 million in previews, $187 million opening weekend, and Thor Love and Thunder at $29 million in previews, $144 million in its opening weekend, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that did $28 million in previews and $181 million on opening weekend. Had Chadwick Boseman not passed away, he probably would have done great in the Black Panther sequel, and they may have done even more money than that. I'm sure they would have done a lot more money than that. A lot of people were excited about that first movie. Based on the preview figures alone, Deadpool and Wolverine is tracking in line with their pre-release projection range of $180 to $200 million. The film is virtually guaranteed to beat the prior opening weekends in the Deadpool franchise, en route to becoming the biggest R-rated opening weekend of all time. And that's a pretty good match for Pixar. Pixar's Inside Out 2 becomes top animated film of all time at the global box office. And does Inside Out 2 have anything to do with Deadpool and Wolverine? Well, Inside Out 2 is only part of Pixar's universe, it's not part of Marvel's universe, but because Pixar's Inside Out 2 is successful, breaking animation records, Deadpool and Wolverine is bringing Marvel back from the dead, and you now know what the future of Marvel's going to be. From The Hollywood Reporter, Pixar's Inside Out 2 becomes top animated film of all time at the global box office. The record-shattering summer tentpole passed a fellow Disney release, Frozen 2, on Tuesday. Bigger than Frozen 2, bigger than any other animated movie from any studio putting out animated movies, not just Disney. That lets you know what Pixar's focus is going to be. It also lets you know what Marvel's focus is going to be. They've got the Deadpool and Wolverine product already. I have no idea what they're going to do with Star Wars, but the pressure is going to be on at Star Wars. When the stock analysts start asking that question, then we know things will start to change. In Latin America, Deadpool and Wolverine posted the second highest opening day of 2024 in key territories Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina. European highlights include the second highest opening day of the year in the UK and Italy, while taking first place in the same category in Spain and Germany. Audience scores are high in both France and Germany. Asia Pacific reports are the highest opening day of the year in Australia. The film will open today in China, with early estimates looking like $8.5 million from China. And what all of the numbers tell us, and remember the numbers don't lie, this translates to a hit worldwide. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.